Good morning, Abundant Life Church. This is Pastor Chris, and today we're going to wrap up our study of Romans chapter 11, verses 33 down to 36. We left off with the idea that God has given us his Son, and that Son was put to death for us. People killed him. In the context here, Paul is saying that the Jewish people rejected Jesus and they had him put to death, and yet God still loves them. God still wants them to come back to him, even after what they've done. How do you even begin to understand such a level of grace and love and forgiveness? This is what Paul meant when he said that we don't know God's mind. God doesn't think or act or respond the way that we do. Thank goodness that God doesn't think or act or respond the way we do, because if he did, we'd probably be doomed. Look at verse 34. Who has known the mind of the Lord, or who has given to his count, or who has been his counselor? If it had been one of us in God's shoes, would we still look for the very people who put our son to death to come back to us? No, God did. Would we have the patience and the forgiveness to want people like that back? No, but God does. You're starting to see the kind of Lord that we serve. I don't understand him. I don't get him, but I sure am thankful for him. I can't comprehend his level of love and grace and forgiveness, but I'm thankful for it. That's all we can really do is be thankful that we serve such a God. Look at verse 35 now. Who has ever given to God that God should repay him? All right, let's clear up one more reason why God is loving to us, or rather, what isn't the reason. God doesn't owe it to us. God doesn't say, well, they've been pretty nice to me, so I guess I owe them heaven. Yeah, God's not repaying us. He's not in debt to us. There's no one who can say that God owes me salvation because of all that I've done for him. God doesn't owe us grace and mercy and forgiveness. If he owed it to us, that would be describing our actions. But we have a God whose love describes his action, and he's letting us know in no uncertain terms how loving he is. And that's beyond our ability to even begin to comprehend or to imagine such love. We may never understand the depths or the reasons for God's love, but you know what we can do? We can live in thanksgiving for it. I don't know why God is so loving. I know we haven't earned it. God's love describes his nature, but how do you even understand that? Obviously, again, we don't deserve it, and it's certainly not how we would act or respond. I can't explain his mercy, but I can be grateful for it. Without his great love, where would we be? I don't know how we got to the point of getting God's Son and getting forgiveness and salvation. I'm just glad that God thought this plan up. This is all we can do. We can live every day in jaw dropping, utterly astounded gratitude for a God of such undeserved and immeasurable love for us. And we can tell other people about him too, that no matter what they've done, they are forgiven and they can come back. I want to close with kind of a gruesome story. My youngest son, Jordan, is, how old is he? He's 34 years old. He was born just a few months apart from a young man named James Bolger. I never met James Bolger. Uh, he grew up or he was born in Liverpool, England, where the Beatles are from. When my son Jordan was about 2 years old, 2 or 3, somewhere in there, that's about how old James Bolger was. And I heard about him because he was a big news story. His mother was in a shopping mall, crowded, busy shopping mall. And you know how it is with toddlers. You've got them by the hand, but they're constantly pulling away and wanting to run after something. And she turned and looked the other way for just a second, and he was gone. Every mother, every father has a story like this. I looked away for just a second. She desperately started searching for him. She couldn't find him. She went to mall security. They actually locked down the mall looking for this kid, and they could not find him. What they eventually found was security tapes that showed what had happened to James Bulger. He was let out of the mall by two guys. His body was found a couple days later. I won't go into all the gruesome detail because it is harrowing. He did not die a good death. The thing is, these two guys who let him out were children. I think they were like 9, 10 years old, something like that. They went to prison for it. They were eventually let out. I had a very tough time with this. Why? Again, my son was about the same age. It touched all kinds of nerves. To this day, I struggle with that question. Could I have ever forgiven those two little boys for what they did? Yes, I know they were children. I get that. Could I have forgiven them? I'm glad I don't have to be in that situation. I don't know if I'm capable of that, but I know this: God is. No matter what we do, God wants us back. It's a love and it's a grace we cannot begin to comprehend, but we can be thankful for it. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.